Welcome to our channel, and in this video we will cover all the recent news you need to know about. First, please notice our disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor and this video is for informational and educational purposes only. Alright, now let's dive right into this video. And in the beginning, something I wanted to start off with is some macroeconomic developments in the world because they influence crypto a lot. And as you can see, the thing we're looking at is the currency strength over last year, and why that is important is something I will discuss a little bit later. The first thing you can see is that the US dollar, compared to all the other currencies in the world, ever since October in 2021 has grown a lot in value, and other currencies have only fallen in value. Even though the inflation in the United States is very high, we can see that the strength of the US dollar has only increased due to their very hawkish approach in raising those interest rates and higher inflation, even higher inflation in other countries such as in the Eurozone, in Great Britain, but also in Australia and Canada. So this strengthening US dollar is definitely threatening crypto a little bit because we've seen that as the dollar increases in value, that most crypto prices actually start to fall down. So that's a negative side, but there's also a side you can look at which is a little bit more positive, and that is seeing all of these centralized currencies dropping in value massively, while most cryptos and Bitcoin have actually been relatively stable over the last couple of months. Now, kind of talking a little bit more about crypto and then especially Bitcoin, we'll zoom into Bitcoin. Something that is a very exciting and amazing development we've seen is that trading volume has heated up for crypto markets and especially Bitcoin, like I said. And during the big leg down on Tuesday, Bitcoin peaked at its highest level of trading since June the 14th. June the 14th, we had quite a big crash, and volume has gradually risen all year since bottoming out in late January. So this tells us a lot of things. Obviously, it tells us that there's still a lot of volume and a lot of capital going around in crypto markets. Now, that's a great sign of adoption, but that also shows that people are still willing to buy and sell and trade Bitcoin even during these tough economic times. Now, here you can clearly see a chart over the last couple of months, starting 26th of June, so you cannot see the volume at the 14th of June, but you can definitely see that even though the price has been high of Bitcoin at 24,000 and the price right now is relatively low at around 20,000, 19,000, you can still see that there is an uptrend in volume, which means that more people are buying Bitcoin for the long term. But unfortunately, it also means that people are still selling a lot of Bitcoin. To me, still it is positive because it shows that there are still a lot of people interested in and trading Bitcoin. Now, kind of zooming in on Bitcoin a little bit more, I wanted to talk about regulation. Regulation is obviously one of the key points in crypto, not only for Bitcoin, but it also goes for Bitcoin. And recently on CNBC, there was an interview which I wanted to show you, which is about Bitcoin being a security or a commodity, but in general, the regulation around it. I think it's very important to know what's going on with the regulation around crypto. So we'll quickly look at this clip and then we'll talk about that a little bit later.
It should be fairly simple to do. Just split things up and delegate responsibility, like swaps, futures, options. Those are all your purview. Things that are based on securities could be the SEC's. Can't you guys get along? Can't you share?
We do get along.
Is that going to happen?
We can share. We have shared. We will share. But for us, the CFTC, the difficulty is, as you know, we're a derivatives regulator. We don't oversee cash markets. So the authority that I've been asking Congress for is cash authority, so that we can go into the Bitcoin cash market, the Ether cash market, and the other digital commodity tokens.
But Securities and Exchange says that those are securities.
Those aren't security? Well, we're going to have to figure that out, I think, legislatively, because this is a new asset class, and there are different components and characteristics of this asset class as opposed to traditional asset classes. We have to rely on 70-year-old case law to determine what's a security, what's a commodity. We have at least one court case in the Eastern District of New York that says Bitcoin's a commodity. There are other cases out there, and we're just trying to figure this out as we go.
It feels like a big turf war.
Well, it's not a turf war. It's two regulators who work together in the swap space, who work together in the future space, and we're trying to find a reasonable outcome that will create certainty for the market, but also customer protections for retail investors.
Let's go back 70 years to the people who wrote the law and explain crypto to them.
Alright, so a very interesting piece altogether. I think some interesting things were said, and especially that what he said about we have to rely on a 70-year-old case law to determine what's a security and what's a commodity. Obviously now we have a SEC versus Ripple case in determining whether XRP is a security or commodity. And all this regulation, it's bad for investors. And a lot of people are saying that the next bull market will actually happen after regulation is at least a little bit more clear. Because as you could see from the video, right now it's far from clear. So what I would hope to see is new guidelines, and I would definitely expect that in the future. But for now, the only thing we can do is hope and think about it. Some other news around crypto and blockchain adoption is that Christie's, one of the biggest auction houses in the world, moves on-chain with an NFT auction platform built on the Ethereum blockchain. The new marketplace allows the prestigious auction house to carry out auctions and sales on the Ethereum blockchain from start to finish. So going into the history a little bit, after a series of successful high-priced NFT sales, Christie's has launched its own dedicated NFT on-chain auction platform, allowing auctions to be carried out fully on-chain on the Ethereum network. Christie's is the second largest auction house in the world by fine art auction revenue, and it allows for NFT auctions to be conducted entirely on the Ethereum network from start to finish, and the name right now they give it is Christie's 3.0. So all transactions, including post-sale, will be automatically recorded on the blockchain. To me, this is again great news, great fundamental news for crypto and for NFTs. Because Christie's, if you didn't know them already, it's a huge auction house. And them already being kind of invested technologically in NFTs and now really setting up their own NFT platform, to me is a great thing for adoption, a great thing for development of NFTs, and altogether great for crypto. Then I also wanted to zoom into some development of a specific project, and that project, I think we all know that, is Filecoin with the file token, FIL. So as you can see, file sharing crypto project Filecoin reports strong fundamental growth ahead of the FVM launch. And you can also see some 20,000 individual users are said to be using Filecoin to store over 50 million data objects used by decentralized applications on the blockchain. So some of those great fundamental growths are that they saw a nearly 7-fold growth of data suppliers since the start of 2022. So even in a bear market, it's really growing a lot. So the network storage providers were increasing at a rate of 20% each month, with most of activity in North America, Korea and Hong Kong. And so just for the people who don't know Filecoin, Filecoin is a cryptocurrency that enables users to buy and sell computer storage on a system for decentralized storage of data and files. So with that, it goes against things such as Amazon Web Services in the fact that it's fully decentralized. So this fundamental growth is all amazing because of their FVM launch later in 2023. As you can read, such reported growth comes ahead of the launch of the Filecoin virtual machine, slated for an early 2023 release. And FVM is a software platform or virtual computer, that's the VM, that would be used by developers to create decentralized applications based on the Filecoin network, which I think is a great development for Filecoin. It has been a great project over the last couple of years already, and here you can only see that they have been keeping developing it and that it has a bright future. Then a little bit more about NFTs, which we talked about earlier, obviously with Christie's, but also we want to talk about OpenSea. OpenSea is one of the biggest NFT auction houses and NFT platforms right now. And what they have done recently is they added support for the Optimism blockchain. And Optimism is now the 6th blockchain supported by the leading NFT marketplace. Optimism is one of the newer blockchains out there. They launched their own token back in May, back in June, and it was very hyped up. And it still is one of the fastest growing blockchains out there. So NFT marketplace OpenSea announced on Tuesday that it has expanded its offerings to include projects built on Ethereum Layer 2 scaling solution, Optimism. And with that, it joins the 5 other existing networks now supported by the marketplace, which are Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, Clayton, and as of last week, Arbitrum. So the NFT ecosystem on Optimism, even though it's a relatively new blockchain, is already quite profound and quite big. And you can also see that with the launch, OpenSea already had listings for over 100 Optimism names native NFT collections on its marketplace since launching compatibility with blockchain earlier on. So I think this is great development, especially for Optimism, but also for OpenSea, that they keep increasing their amount of collections and the amount of network supported, which will only empower the NFT ecosystem. Now, lastly, I wanted to talk a little bit about Chainlink, another great project and one of the biggest projects. I know a lot of you know it. And blockchain data provider Chainlink launches program to reduce costs ahead of staking of its own token. The popular blockchain Oracle network's new build and scale program set the stage for the Link token staking to begin in December 2022. Very exciting. So Chainlink, which is a provider of price feeds and other data to blockchains, is reducing the network's barriers to entry for early stage projects and reducing costs for existing participants ahead of the introduction of staking of its native token, Link, at the end of this year. So the Oracle network that powers a lot of DeFi platforms is offering a build program where up and coming teams donate 3 to 5% of their native tokens to the network in return for access to Chainlink data. And for those already initiated, the Scale platform, so Build and Scale, aims to reduce on-chain transaction costs associated with smart contract oracles to near zero. So something that was a struggle with Chainlink over the last couple of years is that Chainlink provides data and price feeds for a lot of DeFi protocols and platforms, which last year had 250 billion in total locked value. It's a little bit less right now, but still a lot of money. And we couldn't really see that in the price of Link. All right, so these build and scale platforms actually help to create more value for Chainlink, therefore also for the Link token. So very exciting things coming up for Chainlink, and it's definitely a crypto I would have on my watch list for the upcoming months. So with that, we have reached the end of this video. We talked about some of the most important news in the crypto world over the last week. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure to add a like and add comments with questions I might have missed and subscribe to our channel.